Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going. Today, we have predictions for 5 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunder. This game between the Thunder and the Nuggets is shaping up to be a real test for both teams. The Thunder are riding high at the top of the Western Conference with a 52-11 record, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. What's truly impressive about them is their defense. It's absolutely elite. In their last game against Portland, despite missing a bunch of key guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Chet Holmgren, they still walked away with a dominant 107-89 win. That speaks volumes about their depth. Aaron Wiggins stepped up and dropped 30 points, and Jalen Williams delivered the first triple-double of his career. It just goes to show that the team is full of guys who can step in and contribute when needed. The Thunder's defense is what really sets them apart this season. They lead the league in defensive efficiency, holding opponents to the fewest points per game, and they're tough on both the perimeter and inside. They're not just locking down opponents, they're also forcing turnovers, stealing, and blocking shots with ease. Offensively, they've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been playing like an MVP candidate, averaging 32.8 points per game. The dude is unstoppable, and even without some of their main guys, the Thunder still find a way to get it done on both ends of the court. On the other side, the Nuggets are 41-22, and they've managed to win 2 in a row, but they're facing some real challenges here. Jamal Murray is in concussion protocol, and Aaron Gordon is out with a calf injury. That means all the pressure is on Nikola Jokic, and while he's capable of putting up ridiculous numbers, he just made history with a 30-20-20 game. Even Jokic can't carry a team all by himself, especially when the supporting cast is thinned out. Denver's offense is solid, ranked second in the league, but their defense is where things fall apart. They're ranked 18th in the league defensively, which just isn't going to cut it when they're facing a team like the Thunder, who can lock you up and still run an efficient offense. Jokic will be a handful, but without Murray and Gordon, the Nuggets will have a tough time keeping up, especially with their bench being so weak. Looking back at the first matchup between these two, the Thunder held the Nuggets to just 87 points, and that was with Murray and Gordon in the lineup. With those two out, it's hard to see how Denver will even get close to competing, especially with how deep Oklahoma City's roster is. The Thunder are playing at a different level right now, and they easily covered the spread in that first game. I expect more of the same tonight. With the way Oklahoma City defends, it's tough to imagine this game turning into a high-scoring affair. The first meeting was a low-scoring grind, and I expect this one to follow suit. The Thunder are just too good defensively, and with Denver's depleted roster, I think this one stays well under the 222.5 point total. As for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's been on fire lately, and I expect him to continue his hot streak, putting up 25 or more points in this one. With the Nuggets struggling on defense and missing some key pieces, I can see SGA taking over once again. At the end of the day, I'm all in on the Thunder to win this one and cover the 6-point spread. They're just playing too well right now, and Denver's lack of depth, combined with their defensive struggles, makes it hard for me to bet against OKC. I'm confident they'll get the job done at home and keep rolling toward the playoffs.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Phoenix Suns and Dallas Mavericks. This game between the Dallas Mavericks and Phoenix Suns is a crucial one, especially for both teams' hopes of staying in the play-in mix. I've been following these two closely, and the contrast in their current situations is pretty clear. The Mavericks are in a really rough patch right now. They've dropped 4 straight and have only managed to snag 1 win out of their last 7 games, which came against the lowly Charlotte Hornets. Not exactly a confidence booster. The Mavs are still clinging to the 10th spot in the West with a .500 record, but their recent play has me wondering if they can hang on to that playoff hope. Injuries are just eating them alive this season. The trade that sent Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis has clearly backfired. Davis has barely seen the floor, and with Kyrie Irving sidelined for the rest of the season due to injury, the Mavericks just don't have enough firepower. Add in key injuries to players like Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively, and this team has essentially been running on fumes. It's tough to win consistently when your roster is decimated, and it feels like the Mavs are on the verge of throwing in the towel. On the flip side, the Suns aren't exactly cruising either, but they're in a slightly better spot. With a 29-34 record, they're hanging just outside the play-in zone in 11th place in the West. They've had their own issues lately, winning only 2 of their last 7. They just lost a heartbreaker to the Nuggets in overtime, a 149-141 thriller, and while they're still in the hunt, this game is a must-win for them if they want to keep those playoff dreams alive. They've got the talent, but they've been disappointing all season. The Suns' big offseason moves, like bringing in Kevin Durant, were supposed to make them contenders. Yet, Durant's time with the Suns has been far from ideal, and he's expected to be moved in the offseason. Bradley Beal hasn't lived up to the hype, and Devin Booker's contributions have been overshadowed by the team's struggles. The Suns have definitely underachieved, but they still have enough star power to make a push. The key for them now is to figure things out and make a run, especially with the Mavs as their biggest threat to the final play-in spot. When you break it down, it's tough to see how the Mavericks, with all their injuries, will be able to keep up with the Suns. The Mavs have a star in Doncic, but without enough healthy bodies, they're just not able to compete. The Suns, meanwhile, despite their own issues, still have a solid roster with the likes of Booker and Durant. I just don't think the Mavs can weather the storm with the Suns coming in hot, especially when the Suns have more depth and fewer injury concerns. I've been down on the Suns all season, but looking at this matchup, I think they'll be able to take advantage of the Mavericks' depleted lineup. The Mavs are already losing games by an average of 20 points during their 4-game slide, so it's clear they're struggling to keep things competitive. The Suns should have no problem taking control and securing a much-needed win here. With the Mavericks in freefall and the Suns still battling for a chance at the play-in, I expect Phoenix to come out on top by at least 6 points. They'll cover the spread, and I'll be taking them to win this one. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and Milwaukee Bucks. This one's definitely going to be fun to watch, with the Cleveland Cavaliers scoring off against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks just dropped a tough one to the Orlando Magic, losing 111-109, which ended their 4-game win streak. They've got a solid 36-26 record, sitting comfortably in the 4th spot in the East. But with the Knicks ahead of them by 4 wins, it's going to be tough for Milwaukee to make any real moves up the standings. Now, since the Bucks pulled the trigger on the trade that sent Chris Middleton out and brought in Kyle Kuzma, they've definitely seen some improvements on offense. Kuzma's been a solid addition, but let's be real, the Bucks are still all about Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. If those two ball out, the Bucks are a dangerous team, but their lack of depth is still a problem. Guys like Brook Lopez and Kevin Porter are going to have to step up if Milwaukee wants to keep pace with the best teams in the league. Cleveland, though, has been looking like a juggernaut this season. They're currently 53-10, and with a 13-game win streak, they're playing like they have something to prove. They've already secured a playoff spot and are pushing hard for a new franchise record for regular season wins. This team isn't just about one star, they've got a whole crew of guys who can get the job done. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and the newly added DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks make them a well-rounded, dangerous squad. Even when they're not firing on all cylinders, the Cavs have managed to pull out wins. Take their last game against the Hornets, for example. Miles Bridges went off for 46 points, but Cleveland still found a way to win by 1 point. That's the sign of a true contender, being able to win even when things aren't perfect. Their depth is a big reason why they've been so successful this season, and that's going to be huge in this matchup. Cleveland has been pretty much money when it comes to covering the spread, with a 64.5% success rate, just behind the Thunder. However, they've had a couple of close calls recently, barely getting past the Hornets and not covering against the Heat and the Blazers. Still, overall, they've been much more consistent than the Bucks, especially with Milwaukee being on the second night of a back-to-back. That could be huge, considering the Bucks may be without some of their key players if the injury report ends up showing any surprises. Giannis and Dame are both listed as probable for this one, but with it being the second half of a back-to-back, I wouldn't be shocked if one or both of them end up sitting out. If that happens, it just makes Cleveland's chances even better. The Cavs are well-rested and have been the more reliable team all year, so I'm rolling with them to cover the spread and take the win here. I think they've got the edge in every department, and I'd be surprised if the Bucks can keep up without their stars fully ready to go. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the San Antonio Spurs and Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's break down this matchup between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the San Antonio Spurs. The Wolves are coming in red hot, riding a 4-game win streak, including a close 106-104 win over the Miami Heat. They found their rhythm after the All-Star break, sitting at 36-29, firmly in the mix for a playoff spot. It's been a bit of a roller coaster this season, though, especially after losing Karl Anthony Towns for a stretch. But Julius Randle has stepped up in a big way, almost pulling off back-to-back triple-doubles. He and Anthony Edwards are really carrying this team right now, and Dante DiVincenzo's been a solid piece since returning from injury. Still, for the Wolves to stay in that playoff conversation and avoid the play-in, they need guys like Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, and Mike Conley to find their form from last season. If that happens, this squad has the potential to keep climbing in the West. On the flip side, the Spurs are in full rebuild mode. At 26-35, it's clear their playoff hopes are gone, and this season is all about development. Off-court issues, like Coach Pop's absence for the rest of the year and Victor Wembanyama being out with a shoulder injury, have really hurt them. But even with all the adversity, there's hope on the horizon. De'Aaron Fox was a solid pickup for the future, and Chris Paul's leadership on and off the court is huge for the young guys. He's helping these players with more than just their game. He's showing them how to be professionals. So while the season's a wash, the Spurs are building something for the long term, with an eye on future drafts and development. As for this game, it's tough to ignore that the Timberwolves are the better squad right now. They've been doing what they need to do, picking up wins even against teams they're supposed to beat. But I'm not ready to just hand them a blowout win. They've been shaky as double-digit favorites this season, with a 4-11 record against the spread in their last 15 as heavy favorites. They've even lost outright twice as double-digit favorites, so I'm not convinced they'll cover the big number here. The Spurs have been rough this season, but they've shown flashes of competitiveness in certain spots, and even though they're a long shot, I don't see them getting blown out completely. So, I've got the Timberwolves winning this one, but I'm taking the Spurs to cover the 11.5 point spread. The Wolves should win, but I think the Spurs will keep it closer than people expect. Minnesota has the talent to win, but the Spurs have just enough fight to stay within range. The fifth prediction for today is for a game between the Sacramento Kings and Los Angeles Clippers. All right, let's talk about this matchup between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Sacramento Kings. The Clippers have been finding their groove lately, coming off a solid 105-95 win over the New York Knicks, bringing their record to 34-29. It's been a much-needed bounce back for them after a bit of a slump. James Harden has definitely made an impact, and while Kawhi Leonard hasn't quite hit his peak yet, we all know what he's capable of when he's in rhythm. The Clippers roster is stacked, but the real question is whether Leonard can stay healthy and find his rhythm in time for the postseason. With Harden, Leonard, and solid vets like Nicholas Batum and Bogdan Bogdanovic, the Clippers can be dangerous if they can keep everything in sync. Now, the Sacramento Kings are sitting at 33-29 after their 127-109 win over the San Antonio Spurs. And while their offense is still looking potent, they've had a few bumps in the road this season. After last season's success, expectations were sky high, but their defense has been a major weakness. If they want to make a deep run, they'll need to shore that up. The Kings' offense is still one of the fastest in the league, and the arrival of Zach LaVine has helped maintain that pace. Losing De'Aaron Fox was a big hit, but LaVine is fitting in well, showing he can keep up the tempo and provide some big scoring. Whether that's enough to push them forward remains to be seen, though. When we look at this game, the Clippers are clearly the more balanced team, especially with their impressive home record of 20-6. They've also been solid against high-paced teams, going 14-5 in those matchups. The Kings are all about speed, but they haven't shown much of an edge when it comes to rebounding or turnovers, where the Clippers are solid. Plus, the Clippers rank much higher in net rating, sitting at 5th overall, while the Kings are 14th. That said, the Kings have been playing some of their best basketball lately, even with a couple of key players out. They've won 7 of their last 10 games and have been covering the spread like clockwork. Their victories haven't been against the toughest competition, but they're still putting up the numbers and staying hot. I'll give credit where it's due. They've been clicking lately, and that's something to keep in mind going into this game. At the end of the day, I think the Clippers have the upper hand, especially at home. But the Kings are no slouches, and their fast pace could keep this game tight. It wouldn't be surprising to see Sacramento make it interesting, especially with the underdog having covered 5 of the last 8 matchups between these two. So, while I think the Clippers will take this one, I'm leaning toward the Kings covering the spread and the total points going over 220. This one's shaping up to be a fun one, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's a lot closer than some might expect.